Hey guys, this is Lorenza Nicole Molina, aka the Black Butterfly Queen, La Reina Mariposa Negra, and this is View from the Throne. Welcome back. I don't know how you're doing, but I hope you're doing good. And if you're not doing good, I hope you're doing better after this podcast. Thank you for tuning in and giving me your time today. Because you could have gave it to anybody else. I know I always say that, but let's face it, there is a lot of podcasts out here, and you don't gotta listen to me, but you are, and I appreciate it. So I just want to get into it. I want to talk about fear to trust. Okay. And you can take that in two ways. The path of fear into the path of trust, or the fear to even begin to trust. However you hear it, it's fine with me, right? But for me, it was the path. It was the path from fear to trust. But guess what? Also for me, it was the fear to even start trying to trust. Let me explain. So, for me, lately, this year, I want to say, I was presented something to do, um, something given to me to do, and it's something I've never, ever done before, and something that I have out loud said, I don't want to do that. I don't even like that. And when people who had to do it, I felt like God bless them, because I don't know how they got the patience or the tolerance for. Have you ever just been grateful that you don't have to do a certain thing because you don't think you could do it at all? And you are so grateful for the people who can do it, because you're like, I don't know how they do that. I would be pissed off if it were me. They're so wonderful and patient. And then God taps you on your shoulder. He's like, hey, real quick, I'm going to need you to start doing that thing that you say you ain't like. The thing you say you didn't want to do. You was talking a lot. And remember that. Remember when you had asked me for A, B, and C and D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. You remember you asked me all those things, right? Well, this is the door in order for you to get to all of that. That's what you're going to have to do. That's the door. And you like, what? You say you wanted to do this, and this is the way I need you to do it. And it's the thing that you never thought you would be doing. It's the thing you never thought you would be doing. And I had to ask myself, do I look down on doing this? No, no. I had to ask myself, why do I not want to do it so bad? And I realized it was fear. And if you listen to the last episode, you know, I talked about becoming a speaker. This is not about that. But I did say in that about how some of those things, those fears or issues or traumas had translated into other areas I didn't even know it had translated into. And I was discovering this year in some of those things. And when you're faced with like, I got to do something now that I don't want to do, and you realize you don't want to do it, and your disdain for it is not even really you're just afraid. You're just afraid. You're like, you think you hate something that you probably don't really hate. You're scared of. And you're like, well, why am I this scared? And then you realize it's not just one fear. It's multiple fears for different reasons. This is why it's so difficult for you to start it, do it, create it. And it is amazing. How messed up the enemy really is, because chat, we have you out here having all kinds of issues. See, you thought you were dealing with that and you was over this and you grew here, and then it's like, oh, but you had this weed in your garden and it's a deep root and I got to pull it up and throw it in the furnace. So you're gonna have to let me dig deep into your soil. And what's interesting, I'm gonna talk more about her in another episode, but Dr. Anita Phillips has a book, and I'll talk about that book later, but it's about the heart. And it's interesting that this book came out this year while God was been dealing with me in this area in my heart. I feel like he's been dealing with me in my heart for a while, but now he has brought me to a certain place in my heart to where now it's like he can really get some stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like really like a root canal for the heart. Like he's really just getting out a lot of dead crap, that I didn't know was there. And that is toxic, not just to your spirit, but we know that the things in the spirit manifest itself to our bodies and how that affects us. And because of the way those things had affected me physically, I was like, how am I going to be able to do the things that you want me to do, God, if I'm feeling like this? And God has really been restoring a lot of those things. Okay. But it's because I had to make the decision to say yes. And believe me, when you're afraid, you think you're just saying yes once. And I did it. I said yes once. But no, it is a process of yes. It is like one yes after the next yes after the next yes. You constantly saying yes. And you because you didn't know you had that much scared in you. You be like, oh, I ain't scared of nothing. And then you find out you are, oh my God, I'm terrified. I don't want to do it, and it's paralyzing. And you got to find out why so that you can be free from the paralyzed feeling. It doesn't mean that you won't be afraid, but we don't need to be scared. And there's a difference between like you can be afraid or nervous or uncomfortable. Like I'm afraid to do that, but whew, okay. But scared, my butt and my hand scared. Nah. Mm-mm. Nope. Get somebody else to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want that to be me. But when you realize that you ask for something that was really put on your heart to ask because it's your desire truly, it is your cut. Now, you know what I'm talking about if you heard the last episode. It is part of your cut, right? If you ask for something and then God gives you the answer, he says yes, you're going to have to do it the way it's given to you. I think about Hannah when she wanted that baby. Okay, she was barren for what, 12 years or whatever. She was barren, couldn't have no babies. Well, this is how long she knew she could have babies anyway. She was barren for a minute. Okay, I don't want to say how many years, but she was barren, yo. Okay, and she had no kids. And then the other sister wife, probably shouldn't call her sister wife because that's not technically a biblical term, but y'all know what I'm saying. The other one was having all the kids, just popping out, you know. But Hannah was the one that her husband really like love for real. She was like, that was his Rachel, you know what I'm saying? Like, the other chick was like his Leah, and Hannah was his Rachel. He really, that's who he really liked it. You know what I'm saying? Like the most. Um, so, but she was so tired of being mocked because, I mean, come on, back then, a woman couldn't even keep her own land if her husband died. And if she had sons that weren't of the age to contest and keep the land for in the family, they would be sold into slavery. Yeah, them biblical days. Yeah. And she'd be probably end up as a beggar or a prostitute. And she couldn't find a way to live. If there was nobody in her house that could take her kids or the land. Yeah, yeah. So women didn't have like a lot of value, okay, that they could bring to the table. I mean, even when they counted persons, they counted heads of households. They didn't count women and children. They count heads of households. So they didn't have the value that we have today. I say that sarcastically because we have been put our own value on us because, child, please, that's another podcast episode. But it didn't, if you couldn't pop the baby out, then what good are you? You know what I'm saying? That's how they were made to feel. Now her husband, he was like, I love you. Like, aren't I enough for you? Which, no, you're not. I can't even have my own career. No, you're not enough. I'm sorry. It makes me mad every time I hear that part of the story. Like, I love you. Ain't that enough? No, obviously I'm not enough, because you wouldn't have this one and all them kids over there with her if me by myself was enough, but you got the audacity to ask me, is you enough? No, I want more out of life, and you are not. I need to be happy, okay? And I want to at least be able to bear some children, okay? Or at the most, because some people, that's their dream, and that's fine. Okay? It's part of it. Part of a full package for most people, or a lot of people, or some people, however you want to put it. But she wanted to be able to have kids, and that's what she really wanted. Okay? And it was important to her to have something more than just the husband and nothing to show for her life. Okay? And so she got fed up, got tired of being mocked, went down there, started praying. When you tired and stressed, and she was praying to God. But that minute, that priest say, "Oh, you drunk?" And she's like, "No, I'm talking to God because I want a baby." He's like, "Okay." Oh, well, she didn't say directly what it was. She was talking to God, and he was like, "Oh, God will give you what you asked for." And then she had her son, and she had to dedicate her son back to God. When I talk about fear, I just, like, she wasn't scared. And the person she had to dedicate her son back to was the priest that called her drunk when she was praying a quiet prayer to God. So you want me to put my baby in the hands of that man who didn't even have the discernment to know I was talking to you? He was judgmental. His manly, chauvinistic, whatever, or religious, judgmental ways judged me. And now you want me to give that child over to that man. I don't even know if I'm going to have any more kids. I've been wanting this. I've been wanting to not be barren. And the first child I actually get, not knowing if I can ever have another, I gotta give them to you. That had to be a little nerve-wracking. And this is the thing. She said I will dedicate. And this is her prayer though. She prayed, God, she wanted a child, and she said she would give him to the Lord. She promised that to God, and God said, all right. But that was the prayer she was going to need to pray to break open her womb and that sounded painful, to open up her womb to be able to receive. Because the first child was destined to be the successor of the man that was sitting there acting like she was drunk when she was really trying to pray to God, right? Okay? Because he was out of line, and so was his sons, and God allowed them to die and him take his place. But guess what? Hannah ended up having more kids after that. Because it wasn't just about her getting the one baby. It was about breaking off the wall that was keeping her from being able to have any babies. It was about taking away her barrenness. When God answers your prayers, the door that you got to go through is not going to look like what you want, but it's going to give you more than what you have. And I'm hearing this for myself right now too, y'all. So just, if I shout, just bear with me. But what you have to give up after not having something for so long may terrify you to say, I don't want to let that go, because I just got it and didn't have it before. God is going to require you to trust him in a way that seems outrageous. But we always talk about God doing things in mysterious ways. And then when he starts doing it, we be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Is that God or is it the devil? And you be like, yo, not everything the devil. Devil, like, I wasn't even over there, yo. I wasn't even over there. Okay? And you blaming me for stuff. It wasn't even me. Okay? Stop that. Like, I'm already going to be in hell forever. Like, leave me alone. Okay? But what God told me, like, pretty much for me to be able to do those things. This is the door I have to go through. And I thought about Hannah, and I also thought about the teddy bear. I don't know if any of y'all are on social media, some people are on social media, if anybody's seen this on social media, but it's a little girl with a little blue teddy bear, and Jesus is on one knee, with the big teddy bear. And he's like, just give me the little teddy bear, and I got another teddy bear for you. And she's like, but I love it. I want to give that. But for her to have more, and not just what she asked for, but more than what she can think of or ask. Because remember, God is in this business, okay, of giving you more than what you can think or ask. Jeremiah 29:11, I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. He is in the business of doing bigger than we can think or imagine, okay? So if he's has directed you, or you've had a desire in your heart and you've prayed for it and he's showing you this, that's because the desire is lined up with something he's been wanting to give you anyway. And you've been in line with him enough for your heartbeat to start aligning with his heartbeat. And you're asking for the things in your heart that he has in his heart for you. And what you're asking for is the crack in the door. He's trying to get the door open. We always ask God to open the door for us, but really we need to let him in. We need to let him open the door. And your request coming to him is his opening in the door. We want the door open, but we're the ones that got to be open. We're the door most of the time that we are fighting and beating on, not understanding why it's closed. Have you ever tried to push a door that you're supposed to pull? And you're like, why can't I get out? Because you have a special moment, and you over pushing the door and you're supposed to be pulling it. And you realize you got to pull it to you to open it. That's how we're built. Most of the time, that door that we've been fighting, God, open the door for me. He was like, I need you to open. You, the door that you've been trying to get through. And that prayer was the crack in it. But you got to keep pulling it open to give me access. And the crack only helps reveal that there is something on the other side, and it is him. And you see it, but you can't be afraid to open it up all the way and let him all the way in. You want the changes. You want it. You ask for it. Now he's showing you what you got to do. And you know it's him, but you're scared. And you're scared because you have lived your life in so much in such another way that you cannot fathom a different way of living, even though you know that this is not the way for you. You cannot see it. And sometimes not being able to see where you are, that is what's scary. And you got to trust God more than you trust your instincts from past situations, because past situational instincts are not going to work where you are. If you're standing in a threshold, doing a whole lot of flips and twists and dips and stuff, probably not going to work for you because you're going to hit the walls. Probably would have worked in the room, but it's not going to work in the threshold. Hannah had to give up one child, but not even give him up, but she had to trust God with something she asked for. You think she'd get to keep it, but God, that was like her first fruits. That was like that 10% that you don't think means anything. That was like that. She gave her first fruit and God multiplied it. And I think she had more kids. I think it's about 5 more, or 5 in total, including him. Can't remember, but it was more children. But I know that's for me too, because this thing has been very difficult for me, and it's been because of my fears, and those fears have been because of trauma. But what if Hannah let everything, her sister wife, teased her about, um, made fun of her about? What if she let everything she said keep her from trusting God? She recognized that God was the one who gave her the baby. And she was just grateful to be able to carry him. So grateful that it was like, you can have him, God. At least I know that he's good because you gave him to me. And you're going to raise him for me. And I get to know that that's my baby. And then God was like, but here comes some more. Because you trusted me. And this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to trust the God. Go through the door. Go ahead and open it. And let him in. So he can take me out. I need my VIP pass, and he the only one that can do it. You know what I'm saying? Can't nobody else get me through that door but him. But I got to be the one to open it up so he can take me out. He can take me out of my feelings, take me out of my heartache, take me out of the lies that I believe, take me out of faith that is not really working for me because it's really working in the opposite direction, false belief systems. Take me out of that. Take me out of what I identified emotionally that is not really truly me, but something given to me so I can be what I need to be. That is hard. That is difficult, but it is very much possible because we see it time and time again, not just in Bible stories, but in everyday stories in our own lives and people around us. We can. With God, we can do all things. It's not by our might, but by the might of the Holy Spirit. In our weakness, he is made strong. His strength is made perfect in our weakness. Like, how many times does he keep showing us that you just need to relinquish the control you think you have and just give God the access. Once he gets the crack, and you see him, because the crack of the door can still have that little lock on it. You know how the little chain lock, and you kind of open it up. You see the person, but you still ain't letting them in. That's how some of us are doing. God, I know I'm guilty. Okay, I'm trying to do better at letting him come all the way in and taking off that little lock and just saying, all right, because he ain't what he is. God, like, what he finna do? If he finna do anything, he probably finna make something to eat. Like, you know how a good mama come over, a good mama or auntie or somebody come over, and, and they make some food and all that stuff and everything, or they take you out to eat because you finally let them in, have a good sit down with you. That's probably what. And the fear came from how people did me, how badly I've been hurt when I trusted people with my gifts. The pain has come from how people have expected so many things from me, but never from themselves, who have put me in a place of accountability that it was not for me. And when I just said that is crossing a boundary for me, tried to punish me for the wrong that they were doing to me. The fear came from how traumatizing and painful and public some of these things were and have happened in my life. The pain came from I was minding my business and people have been talking trash about me and I ain't do nothing. Hearing gossip about myself that ain't even true. And now I got to trust for you to protect me when I didn't feel really protected back then, God. Like, you let these people do me like this. That's how I felt. But is it God really letting people do me a certain way, or is it free will at work? Because that's not God's will. It was not God's will for me. He even told me that was not my will for you. But just like I have a plan, so does the enemy. And free will gives his plan power. And when people operate in that, this is what they do. But all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and who are called according to his purpose. So even what the enemy has stolen from you, he has to give you back 7 times that. So anything he does to hurt you, he has to come back 7 times and restore it back to you. So he's shooting himself in the foot. So really, not only now do you still get what I said I was going to give you, which is more than you can think or imagine, but now he also has to pay you back what he took 7 times. And it would be better for someone to tie a rock around their neck and jump into the ocean than to mess with what he calls his little ones, us, his children. So we in this together, guys. There's a lot of changes we're going through. You're not the only one. I'm going through it with you. I'm being called to do other things. I'm being asked by God to show up in certain places. I'm being required to be obedient for my freedom. Because some things you got to just walk out. You can't be looking for the light at the end of the tunnel, because sometimes that light is not the end of the tunnel. It's a train coming at you and you're walking towards it, and God is saying, move out the way. That is not it. So many of us are afraid of the dark. I was having a discussion with somebody not too long ago about the dark, and it was about space, about how space is everywhere at once and how the stars are scattered. How space is a canvas, a black canvas. And so many people are afraid of the pitch blackness. But if it were not for the pitch blackness, how could we see the stars? But also, let's think. Everything needs to be in the dark at some point. We always talk about the light, but trees and birds and animals sleep better in the dark. So do humans. When we sleep in the pitch black, we actually sleep better and we are healthier because of it. We don't need to be exposed to light all the time. And not all light is good. Not all light is healthy. That's why we have light pollution. If light was so good, how could it be a pollution? Because not everything that looks like light or bends like light, moves like light is light or good light. And that everything that's dark and quiet is evil. Sometimes it's a place of safety. Sometimes it's a place of security. And we talked about in this conversation, we talked about how God sometimes is that secret place, that dark place is God's presence. It's when you're hidden under his wing, nestled close. It's when what does the older people say, hidden cliff of the rock, unseen, covered. You know, when you're a kid and you got scared or some people, they would hide under the blanket in the dark. That dark felt safer. You felt more hidden. Sometimes that dark you're trying to run from, or that dark you think is bad, is not even bad. It's a covering. It's a safe place. And just sitting and being still with God is a gift. See, we know that spending time with one another is a gift, but spending time with God in time, while we exist in time, is truly a gift. How can we think people are a gift but not God? Time with God is a gift. Being in a peaceful place where you can just breathe and not fighting that feeling, not fighting it. I also want to illustrate it this way. This is a part of a story. I don't know how to swim. And against my better judgment, I was talked into getting into a lake with my floaty thing and all that stuff. And I started getting really scared because of the pressure of the water in the pool. And I'm not sure which friend it was at the time, but they was like, just breathe and just relax. And then I closed my eyes. And even though I was in the middle of all that water and did not know how to swim, I closed my eyes and just let myself float. And I started to calm down. I could not think about what I could not see. I could not think about, oh, I'm in this water, I can't swim. I had trusted them to get in the water. And then I started panicking when I was in it. It's like, why get in if you're just going to panic? You know what I'm saying? But you can't panic in the water because you could pull other people down. You have to have a leveled head. I'm in it. It wasn't in me, right? I was just in that thing. And I had to keep my calm. And because of that, even when things started getting a little funny, like the boat started kind of drifting a little bit. we were able to pedal ourselves back calmly. And since the people I was with were strong swimmers, it didn't really take them long to get on the boat. There was somebody else on the boat, but I don't know. I don't think they could turn it on because it was too close to us or something like that. But either way it goes, they just paddled back, and then, we just got back on. It was kind of floating, but no one was paying attention. Okay. But even in the midst of making mistakes in the water, because I kept my calm, I was able to get back into position where I needed to be at the time. And I know that I can handle being, I know what to do in the water now. I know what I need to do when I'm in a big body of water and I'm overwhelmed. I know how to calm myself, and I would know how to calm somebody else. And that's an important thing to know because of the experience. But I was panicking at first. And then when I should have been panicking, when the boat started drifting a little bit, and it was like, oh Lord, da da da, um, that's when I probably should have panicked, but I wasn't, because I had just got instructions on how to be calm, and I took it. I just started doing it immediately. And this is how this is. Sometimes we're in the dark and it feels like we're in the water and we're overtaken and we feel very overwhelmed by it, the pressure. We don't know how to swim in this. And God said, I never asked you to swim. I just asked you to float. And you don't have to worry about the boat going anywhere because I'm carrying you. There's nothing that's going to go wrong here. Even if something went wrong, I got you. Just like my friends the friends at the time that I was with had me. And we got back on the boat. And even if we didn't get back on the boat, the shore was like right over there. You know what I'm saying? We just wanted to be on the boat. So, but the shore was right there. But the dark is not always bad. And the water is not always meant for you to drown in. It's meant for you to float. Why work so hard to swim when you can just float? So fight the water. Stop pulling yourself down further. Stop fighting the thing that's there to carry you. You may not like being isolated and away from people and all that stuff while you're going through the changes, but this is what's supposed to be carrying you, because if all those people are around while you're going through these changes, it will be horrible. It will do some damage to you because you're in a vulnerable state, and not everybody needs to see everything. When you are in surgery, your family members are not there in the room with the surgeon. They may love you, but they are not the ones that need to be in the room. They will be a problem. They will cause a problem for you because they are not made for that. Some people can't be around you. It doesn't mean you won't see them on the other side. It doesn't mean you're not going to come out, whatever. But when you are in surgery, you need the doctor and skilled professionals in that room with you that know what they're doing so that you can come out. And ain't no surgeon like God, because he don't mess up. And he knows how to cut things without making you bleed everywhere. Okay? And when he heals you, there ain't no scars. So trust him with your new baby. Trust him with your teddy bear. Trust him in the dark. Trust him in the water. Trust him in surgery. However, whatever you feel like you're in, let go and let God. Open the door. Take your lock off. You got this. You can. He's right there. He's the one on the other side of the door. But he's also the one on the inside, encouraging you to come and open the door. He's with you on both sides. The other side is your ladder. It's everything you've been waiting on and everything you've been praying for. Everything and more. And it's your turn. And it's unfair to yourself to let the fear of what people have put down in you keep you from experiencing the life you prayed for. God loves you way too much. I tell people this often. God loves us enough to take us as we are, But he loves us way too much to leave us where we are and how we are. You've come so far, and now you're really here. You're at your door. You're at the threshold of former and latter. And it's your turn. And the door may not look appeasing, but that's the door. You got to open your heart. You got to let him in. You got to trust him like you never have, because this is where you float. This is where you trust him with everything you have. This is where it doesn't require the same energy you took before, because you're leaning on him in a new way. We're trusting him together. Thank you, I want to say, for dropping in again and listening. I appreciate the time. I appreciate the listen. And if there's anybody that could benefit from anything I say, please share. And thank you again. And remember, always remember. And first I want to say, before I say remember, is to pray. That I pray that you're covered and you're good, and that your week be blessed. And no matter when you listen to this, that a week from today, that you be blessed from a week from today. So if it's a Thursday to a Thursday, 7 days. And I'll see you at the next podcast, of course, or And but remember, your crown may tilt, your crown may crack, crown may even fall sometimes, but it does still shine. Okay? Much love, much peace. Once again, I'm LORENZA NICHOLL MOLINA, aka the Black Butterfly Queen, La Reina Mariposa Negra, and this is View from the Throne. Thank you. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Hey guys, before I forget, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And also hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. And if you're interested in seeing anything else that I do, you can go in my description and hit my link tree and follow any page from there. Thanks again. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.